So hey my YouTubers and everyone in the world, today is September the 10th. The time is now 8:38 a.m. guys. It's going to be a beautiful Tuesday all day. If you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and that notification bell so you can see more of me. And give this video a huge thumbs up to show some love and support. Now moving forward, today we're going to be talking about 5 things, for the thumbnail, that parents experience that hinder their parenting. I feel like our past has a lot to do with the type of parent that we will become someday. So if you've been through these 5 different things, or plus I'm going to throw in a bonus tip. If you've been through any of these experiences in your childhood, that could have an effect on your parenting. Now, the first thing that some parents experience that will affect their parenting is if they were raped or molested. If they were molested in some type of way, or if they were raped in some type of way, I believe that that does affect their parenting, because psychologically, if you're molested, it does damage you. You know, the fact that it might have happened at a young age, it may have happened, when you was running through the park. It may have happened unexpectedly at some point in time, and it doesn't matter what age something like that happens. It still has a tremendous effect on how you feel, about yourself, about other people, your trust level. So if you've been through something like that, of course, your parenting is going to be like, you're going to be like an overprotective parent. You're not going to want certain, types of people around your child. If you get that third eye, that sense that something may be off with the person, or sometimes you may even not trust people that are trustworthy, only because you are afraid of something like that happening to your child. So it's going to be very hard for you to let your guard down because of that experience that you had in your past. So that does have a tremendous effect on your parenting. Now, the second thing that parents experience that make them, that affect their parenting basically, is being sheltered all their life. If you were homeschooled, if you had the type of parents that were deeply religious to the point where you couldn't have certain friends, you weren't able to date, you weren't able to go out to the movies and have a good time, all you could do is just spend time in the house. If you were sheltered like that, it does have a tremendous effect on your parenting, because once again, psychologically, a part of you can be damaged from being in that house all your teenage years and all your young years. Like, just being cooped up in that house will make a person go crazy, and a lot of times, it does affect your parenting, because now you're afraid to allow your child to be young and be free and have fun and experience different things in life with people around their age and go on class trips, because that's not what you're used to. You were used to being sheltered in a house. You were used to being only around your family members, and you never had a chance to really live. And that is a very, very, very big problem. And what it does is, as you get older and you become a parent, you slowly fall into that same mentality that your parents had, because that's what you're used to. So it does affect your parenting, because you'll find yourself sheltering your children, to the point where you don't want any outsiders around your child. And that is a problem, because it causes psychological damage to the child. As they get older, they don't know how to socialize because they're not used to that. So it does stop them from being kids. Being sheltered, it does stop them from being kids. And you're supposed to be a child and have fun and live life. And if you weren't, exposed to that type of stuff, then that's kind of a problem, because you never really had a chance to be a child. And I think when you're sheltered, as you age, being sheltered is very bad, because then when you get older, you adapt to being in the house all the time instead of going out, having fun, and being with friends in their 20s and 30s around your same age. Like, socially, you're socially awkward. You don't know how to socialize with people because you're not used to it. So I think that it does affect your parenting very much. Now the third thing that parents experience that affect their parenting is overreacting grandparents, meaning that as a child, when you were growing up, your parents might have been they overreacted to everything. Let's say you was in the park and you fell, and they ran and they helped you up, and they didn't give you a chance to get up on your own, or they overreacted to certain things that are going on in school that they may not understand. that the way that your parents parent you is how you're going to be to your children. So now that your child is growing up, you feel the need to overreact to everything, and sometimes things are just not that serious. And if you overreact, the child sees that. As they get older, once again, they mimic what you do. They see what you do, they hear what you do. What you do is what they shall start to do. And that's just the reality. So overreacting grandparents, overreacting parents, period, is really not a positive thing. It's one thing to react. Okay, you understand. You may not like it. You will address that, whatever the case may be. But it's another thing to overreact to every situation. Like, it's just too dramatic, and it does affect the child psychologically. And I feel like a lot of things that parents do nowadays are affecting their children. And as they get older, once they hit that age where they like, okay, this is who I am, like it or leave it, then it affects the parents as well, because now your child is at an age where they're their own person and they're gonna rebel, and that's a problem. So if you can catch it at a young age, then that is best. Now, the fourth thing that parents do, that parents experience, that affect their parenting, is being defensive, being defended all the time. If you were the type of person as a child where someone always defended you, knowing that what you did was wrong, and they did not set you straight on it, that is a problem, because as you get older, you're going to sit there and you're going to parent your child the same way. And when your child does something that you know for sure is unacceptable, yes, that is your child. But at the end of the day, if they're doing something wrong, you have to let them know that, baby, what you did was wrong and you can't do that again. This is why it's wrong, and this is why you shouldn't do it again. But instead, if you're always on the defensive side and you're always defending your child because that's what you were used to growing up, that is a problem, because your child will think as they get older, they can sit there and do anything they want to anyone, and you're always going to come save them. And the problem with that is they will keep crossing people until they come across the right person that's going to say, you know what, I don't appreciate what you did to me, and this is how I'm going to retaliate. So your child has to know that when they do certain things, that yes, it is wrong. I understand that. And I see this a lot. A lot of people do not want to they don't want to chastise their children. And I'm not saying with a belt or anything, but I'm saying if they do something wrong, take away a video game, take away their phone, punish them. Let them know that what they did was wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. What you're acknowledging is, baby, you did something wrong, and this is why it was wrong, and this is why I don't want you to do it again. But if you're always on the defensive side when it comes to your child, then basically what you're telling them is, you can go out there and do wrong things to people, I'm always going to defend you. And that's the problem, because what if you're not around to defend them? They need to know how to handle these situations, and they need to know what not to do to people. It's okay to teach them, don't do something to someone you don't want done to yourself. So I feel like, yes, if you're always on the defensive side because that's how you grew up and someone always defended you, and you're doing that to your child, then it's only going to affect them as they get older. Yes, it may be cute when they're younger because, okay, they're 5 and 6. You have to defend them at that age. But once they hit 12, 13, and 14, they're conscious of what they're doing. They know right from wrong. It's not okay to steal from someone because you think that you can. Because you'll steal from the right person one day, and that's going to catch up with you. So, yes, always being on the defensive side is not good. Now, the fifth thing that parents experience that affect their parenting is getting triggered. If you have triggers and things that happened to you in the past, and as you get older, you experience some of those things in a different way, and you easily trigger, that is not a positive thing, because now you make people around you feel like they have to walk on eggshells because they don't know when you're going to spaz out. And that is a problem. It makes people feel uncomfortable. It probably makes the child feel uncomfortable. The child doesn't know what to say, how to feel, how to react. They're like, okay, let me just be quiet because I'm not too sure how my mom is going to respond to this. So if you have triggers from things that happened to you in your past, maybe it's time to talk to someone about that, so that can help you start to move forward, because that trigger, it it does affect your child, because now they don't know what to say, how to feel, how to react when you're around, and you don't want your child to feel uncomfortable around you of all people. So if you have, if your child says something and it triggers something in your mind, okay, that may happen, but acknowledge your feelings. Maybe write it down. Maybe talk to a psychiatrist. Understand where the triggers are coming from, but don't just spaz out on your child because they said something. Because remember, your child don't know what you experienced in life unless you told them. But not only that, they may not know what you experienced, and they may just be having general conversations with you about something that triggers something. But that's not an excuse for you to be rude or disrespectful to your child. So if you have certain triggers that, maybe your child says certain things that may make you feel uncomfortable, maybe you can sit them down and talk to them, because remember, they don't know how you're feeling. They cannot read your mind. But at the end of the day, if you do have triggers, I think it's important to go, see a psychiatrist, talk to someone, let those feelings out, write it down, and then come up with solutions to that problem. Now, our bonus tip for today on things that parents experience that affect their parenting is listening to a critical voice inside their head. If as a child, we all have certain things that go on in our head that other people may not understand or they don't even know about. But if you have a voice in your head that's very negative, whether it's towards your child, whether it's towards your children or your spouse or family members or friends, at the end of the day, I feel like it's important to ignore that negative inner voice. A lot of times parents make up stuff in their own minds based off of something that they may see that they thought was one thing and it might be something else, and then they just lash out on their child, and sometimes it reminds them of certain things that they may have experienced as children. But I feel like if you have that criticizing voice inside your head always on a negative, that's something that you should really address and get that under control. And back to going to a psychiatrist, writing stuff down, acknowledging what's going on with you is the start to healing. So I feel like that has a tremendous effect on the way that you parent, because you might become overprotective. You might want to shelter your children, defend them all the time because of stuff that's going on in your head. So yes, it is important to realize how you think and the way you respond to different people, and acknowledge that. But I hope you guys like this video. If you guys want to see more videos like this from me, make sure to give this a huge thumbs up. And like I always say, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And of course, visit my website at shoploveronline.com. Until next time, guys, peace.